Well, I'm officially all alone. Okay, I ate breakfast and I cleaned up the kitchen. My family was in a huge rush to get out the door, which is completely understandable, and they left a huge mess, but I don't really care, and I cleaned it up. It was so fun. I was listening to music and singing along, and I had a really fun time. It's gonna be hard vlogging all day because, as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, my awesome higher quality picture, higher quality sound camera broke many months ago, and I've been having to use my phone since. The picture isn't as good, the audio isn't as good, and also the memory storage amount on the phone is really poor as well, so I can only take so much footage until I have to upload everything to the computer, so I'm not able to, film for a long time. I have to do like medium-sized bursts. So filming all day long, I can't do it in one sitting, I have to do it in several little snippets. So I was uploading the footage I had before breakfast while I was eating, so you're not going to get a full day. You're going to get hopefully the most interesting parts of the day. And the next interesting part I'm going to film is doing animal chores. It's much later than I wanted it to be, but I got to bed really late last night, and I wanted to make sure to give myself proper sleep. I might have mentioned this before on here, but I'm having some digestive issues, and it's kind of a chronic thing, and I'm having to eat this weird diet and take all these supplements, and part of my healing is I'm trying to get a lot of sleep, and sometimes I'm not really good at doing it, but I'm really trying. So even though I love waking up early before the sun rises and seeing the sunrise and hearing all the birds, and then staying up late and seeing the fireflies come out and watching the moon rise and enjoying the beautiful stars, I'm going to force myself to hopefully go to sleep before those times so I can actually get a lot of sleep so my body can heal faster. This means that I'm starting to do animal chores at 10 o'clock. So that's really not great, but with all the circumstances, I think that's the best I'm going to be able to do. Oh, I forgot to grab the scraps. In addition to all of my animal chores, I'm also in charge of feeding the cats, feeding the dogs, feeding the fish in the fish tank in our house, which aren't really a farm animal, but they're still alive and I still have to feed them. And I'm in charge of the regular chickens as well. I have a lot more chores to do than usual. It's going to be interesting getting used to all these new chores. It's going to take a lot longer than I'm used to, though. I guess let's start with the Angoras. They still look really weird. Sylvan, I shaved most of the way, but then my shaver ran out of battery, and Jolty I haven't gotten to yet, so they look all scraggly. But now I don't have to shave them for a while again, because after that huge heat wave, we're in a cold spell. While I was inside, I looked at the weather, and it's only supposed to get up to the 80s today, which is crazy. So it's not going to be nearly hot enough that the Angoras are even going to be uncomfortable, especially because they're already shaved more down than usual. So I have this odd system. It's not going to make a lot of sense to you guys. I don't finish a group of animals, I just kind of do whatever. So right now it's the buckets. So the Angoras get some scraps. Baby chicks get some scraps. These guys, I don't usually give scraps. I usually give them to the older ones. I guess I should do some explaining instead of just walking around. So down here on what we call the woodstove hill, because this is a wood stove that we don't use anymore, we have 4 groups of animals. These baby chicks who you watched hatch. See if I can put the little video up here. They were born on March 20th, so they're a little more than 3 months old. There's 20 of them still alive in this pen, and as you can see, I have to move them. Then we have the second and third batches of baby chicks. We lost a bunch of the second batch, so we combined second and third. So there are 35 of them in total, and they need to be moved, and they're also down here. And each of them are in half of the pasture pens we used to use for the rabbits. Chickens can't dig out, so I'm really liking using the pens for them. Then we have the 2 rabbit tractors. We have Acrobat, Zuzu, and Sterling in this one. And then another 2 does and a buck, Cattail, Constance, and Onyx. Oh, and something interesting about Cattail is her head tilt. You remember her head was tilted and she was all skinny and weird? Well, her head's back to normal. It fixed itself, and she's not skinny anymore. I don't know why her head was tilted. I don't know why it fixed itself, but it did, and that's awesome. That is interesting. So Lehman, one of our kittens, was walking around, he's like right over there. And the baby chicks made this weird noise, like a warning sound. Like a miniature version of like an adult chicken warning sound. These guys are getting so old so fast. I'm sorry this is so haphazard. I guess I should move them first before I feed them, but it'll be alright. Let's do moving next. Let's move the rabbits and tractors, then move the chicken pens. Are you guys so excited for moving time? You always are. You always are so excited. You guys excited for the cool weather? Not sure if you know, But it's supposed to be nice and cool for a long while. That's them. Then let's look at their water. Oh yeah, their water's empty. Are you guys so excited to be moved as well? Oh, I bet you are. I bet you are. Oh, hi, Scruffy. Hey, kitty boy. Oh, look, Lehman and Scruffy in the same shot. Scruffy is getting more used to the kitties. While he doesn't like them, he's not scared of them anymore. You're gonna pounce on him, Lehman? Wow, dude, you're brave. I would not want to attack a beer cat if I was you. Well, I guess he was attacking Fang's tail too, so I shouldn't be that surprised. Next to Fang, Scruffy is nothing to be scared of. Alright, you guys. There you go. And it looks like you guys still have water. It's kind of dirty though, so I'll fix that as well. Now let's move the chicks. I still haven't been able to figure out an amazing setup for their shelter, so I've just been using this board. It hasn't rained in over 2 weeks, so it's just been shade and not rain protection. Whenever it does start actually raining again, I'll have to rethink my shelter setup because this won't cut it for such big guys. I don't move these guys super regularly because they're not rabbits and they don't like get parasites from the ground because they don't eat the grass on the ground like rabbits do. I can leave them on here for longer, so I'm letting them eat all the weeds and then I'll move them the fresh stuff. Okay, everything I need to move out of there is moved. The water bowl and that old food bowl will just be dragged around as I move them and it'll be fine. The hard thing now is going to be scooting this with one hand and a camera and making sure I don't accidentally catch any of these chicks' legs. So I have to wait till they're away from the back fence, like now, and scoot it a tiny bit. Once I scoot it enough so that they see there's new grass, they'll all come and explore it. Still pretty safe. Okay, now I should stop. I also have to be careful of this edge, because if I let this come out over the edge, you'll be able to squeeze under. So a lot of stuff I have to be aware of. Looks like we're safe back there. Oh yeah, we're real safe now. See, I told you they all get excited and stay in the front. Okay, now let's scoot it more this way. Okay, so this is an issue. If I go much further, this branch is going to be in the way. That might be as far as I can go. I want to show you their setup for this food bowl. I still have some food left over from last night. I think it's pretty interesting. So I don't want to have to go in there all the time, especially because they try to peck my feet whenever I do. So for the food, I have, as you can see, a bowl, and it used to have like a white thing that went on top, and it was like a self-feeding thing, but it kind of broke a long time ago. So there's a center metal coming out of the pole. I've attached to that pole a hay string, and it goes around and clips down here. So as you saw, whenever I want to get it out, I just pull the rope up and lift it out. Whenever I want to put it back, I just lower it down. I don't have to go in there and grab it. Okay, so now off camera, I'll move the baby chicks as well. It'll be a lot. Okay, the new chicks are now moved to their new spot as well. Now I have to get food for the little babies and water for everybody. I'll start with these guys. So we have a very interesting situation with our baby chick food. We order whole grains in bulk and mix our own chicken feed. One time we ordered corn. I think they were out of big pieces of corn, so we ordered what we thought was like smaller sized bits of corn crushed into little pebble sizes. But instead, we got this super finely ground meal stuff, and it's really hard to feed in our regular chicken mix. So we've been mixing it with water and feeding our baby chicks this corn mash. It takes more work than just giving them regular grain, but we have to use up that corn stuff. And the chicks are just fine drinking it and or eating it. I try to make it super wet to begin with because they can drink it kind of like a corn smoothie. And then as the day goes on, it'll evaporate. And then I guess the corn kind of soaks up the water as well, because then it'll turn into this mush and then kind of get packed and hard. Sometimes in the middle of the day, I'll have to re-moisten it and swirl it around again. But if I start out with it really wet, it takes longer for it to get dry and unedible. So now everybody has fresh pasture. The chicks have fresh grain. And while both rabbit tractors and the big chicks have water bowls, these guys have a chick water. So I have to fill this up separately. And then I'll bring this back, then fill up a water jug, and then pour water into the rest of the animals. Well, even after so much use and it not raining and being refilled at all, our rain catchment black barrel thing still has plenty of water in it. The little pasture chicks are now completely done. Constant, stay in, please. Okay, all 4 groups of looks like they tipped over their water. Oh my gosh. You are wasteful little birds, aren't you? Okay, let's try this again. All right, all 4 groups of pasture animals are fed and watered and good.